Adams. I'm the director of OJB Resourcing, and I'm starting a series of Coffee With, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Bret. Bret, could you introduce yourself properly to me and welcome and thank you for having coffee with me.
Yes, a pleasure. Yeah, we've been chatting a few times over LinkedIn,
Yep.
Bret Robinson. I'm sort of into data migration, testing, ERP as a whole, predominantly around moved into data because as a test manager, I was always happy to go and sort out my data before I could start
Mhm.
testing. So I've been in ERP for about 28 years now and doing various jobs in the whole mix, product owner, all sorts of stuff. But hence moved into AI and how AI is accelerating ERP delivery and helping people come on board with that and understand that. So that's
So
me for the moment.
definitely an evolution in your career. But if I can take you back, I just can't believe that when you were at school deciding what path to go down, that you wanted to be a data lead manager consultant. So can you explain how you went into this job?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, as a child, I played baseball from the time I could walk till the time I left school, and it was literally that close to getting onto the Yankees farm team for New York Yankees. So
Oh, wow.
and then joined the military, right? And never did think anything about data, military, anything. So joined the United States Air Force, and I was playing fast pitch softball for the base team and dislocated my knee. That got me into doing some stuff on the computer. So I didn't have to go out on the flight line and fix aircraft flight controls on F-15s and F-111s. Instead, I was in behind the desk and
Mhm.
sort out all this data and try and make sense of it and try and bring all this in for all the technical orders for fighter for the F-15 and F-111, our maintenance books. So when you go out to fix anything, step by step, everything has to be followed to the
Yes.
letter. So
Okay.
updating those books, updating the data that went into the books, all that sort of stuff. And I thought, do you know what? This might be kind of good. And then I was in aircraft testing flight controls. I was a flight control
Mm.
engineer. So I was
Yeah.
testing flight control surfaces, landing gear, all that sort of stuff. And all good fun, changing components around that. And it's like, yeah, you should do testing because you're really, really good at QA. You're really good at testing. You got a keen eye for things. So yeah, that's kind of how I morphed into, and then data always has been following me around.
Okay, I see. But how ERP how what about the ERP side? When did that sort of become part of your job role?
Yeah, so as I say, probably the early parts of the ERP in the military, because as you know, the internet come from the military as well. So it's kind of been following me around, and then I started really in earnest with SAP around about 2004,
Okay.
2005. So yeah, kind of into R2, R3 changeover, and then I kind of got into ECC from that then on. But again, I started as a test manager, and a guy took me by the hand, not Sully, Sonny, who works for Sunhill, who works for Unilever. Big shout out to
Yeah,
Sonny,
hello.
and he got me started and took me on. Said, "Yeah, we're going to give you a go at this, even though you don't have any experience in SAP, but we like your test manager skills." So yeah, started out that, and then just kind of moved in, and as I say, data's always following me around, and I'm like, this can't be that difficult and complicated. Surely we can get this sorted. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of how I moved into it from there.
So right up to now, 2025, can you
Mm.
explain what you actually do now? And obviously we've got AI involved. Can you
Yes.
give us a potted example of what you actually do for an ERP project these
Yeah.
days?
Sure. So, because I've done every single job in between delivery manager, project manager, product owner, I've got a lot of experience. So, when people have me on the team that, it's just not getting a data migration manager or a test manager, it's more. I've seen a lot of things happen in this space, especially there's a lot of people nervous, as you know, Emma, with the 2027 deadline. And
Yep.
the one thing I can honestly say, please, please, please sort out your data before
Yep.
you start your project. People are
Yep.
like, I got data. I know I have data. I know it's in a mess, but what can I do? It's
Yeah.
easy,
Phone
really,
you.
really easy. Yeah, hire me, phone me,
Yeah.
and I mean, the software for about $30 a day. You can. I'm not going to mention the company because they got inundated last time I did a podcast, and they said, "Oh, can you just?" I haven't warned him yet that I was doing a podcast, so he might get annoyed. But well, who could get annoyed with more business? But for
Exactly.
$30 a day, you can get your data profiled. We just come in, for anywhere from 5 to 10 days. We profile it, we look at it, we find out where it all is first, where it's all going, what it looks like. And, it literally out of the box, I think, time I create a project, have a login account, create a project, and actually upload the first CSV or direct connect into a Microsoft SQL server database, I think it's about 2.5 minutes. And then we can start
Yeah.
profiling your data. And if you look at my LinkedIn profile under my featured section, I've got 2 videos on there. One shows a data profile with half a
Mhm.
million rows, 40 columns wide in about 2-ish minutes, 2.5, and then a data cleanse around about 3 and a bit minutes for that same data. So, and that's a standard cleanse. It's not a detailed, specific cleanse to say, change all this to this and change all that to that. I think I do change street ST to street and RD to road, and I do some various simple ones, but you can get complex. It does mapping, it does fuzzy logic as well. So you can say, set it to 98% match on company name, and it'll pull out all your
Okay. Wow.
Tesco's, all your
Yep.
Waitrose, pull them all out and say, do you want to keep all of these or do you want to merge them? So, and all that sort of great stuff that it does. But it's literally that, and yeah, making that data work really.
Can I take a step back? And it's great that you've used
Sure.
an analogy of a supermarket, because you go to your local supermarket and they've got the warehouse behind the supermarket. And
Yep.
I'm just wondering, before you start the cleansing process, and you say you've got these great AI tools can do all the rows, how do you
Yep.
ensure that the invoicing matches what's in the warehouse, what's on the shelf, and what's being sold? And I can't help but think that's complex enough. That'll take a lot of time. But if we were to
Yeah.
scale it up to a whole chain, that's even more daunting. So can you explain the sort of step before
Yeah.
you start pressing those buttons?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing you want to do is you want to profile your master data, because what you're talking about is definitely the transactional side. And what we find is the master data is not quite right, or it's moved on, or the business has moved on, the master data is still the same, it's causing issues. And your point is absolutely 100% valid, because it happens all the time, to where I'll go into a place and I'll meet with the finance team day one. People say, what's Bret's day one? Day one, I want to see the finance team. Why?
Yep.
Because I want to find out, A, what does good data look like? And B, how long are you spending correcting month end? They generally spend between 1 to 3 weeks correcting the previous month end, because, as I say, they're looking at transactional now,
Yep.
right? That data is now wrong, and they have to put it right, and it's invoice line items, it's all these things you quite rightly mentioned. It's coming to the warehouse, some of it was damaged, we got
Yep.
5,000, we now got to send 1,000 back, 4,000, 2,000 got to go to the Midwest, the Midlands delivery hub, and then the other 2,000 got to go to the Southern delivery hub, and I'm still 1,000 down.
Yep.
So, and it's all of that, right? That then has to be corrected. But I mean, it will correct the transactional data as well, and we can do
Hmm.
that, and we can feed back in. But what we first have to do, because transactional data will move, it'll move in
Yep.
time. So what's good now? It's like yesterday's newspaper, it's like lining the cat litter tray or the canary cage, right? It's old news, or wrapping up chips. What, you can't do that now, but used to. But and so we gotta address the core, and the core is
Yep.
the master data, and you can sort that out at any time. And then what we can do in the evening is we can then run an update script to then bring that data back up to where it should be and correct it. And then, of course, from then on out, you'll carry on with that. the transactional we can still do. Yeah, we can still correct that and make that a lot quicker than what it would take the finance team 1 to 3 weeks to sort out, right? And that's
Okay,
what you're
well,
saving. And
yeah,
sometimes as well, the finance team, well, they're taking on extra staff to help them do that, right?
cool.
And you're paying extra, $30 a day for this
Yeah,
software that
I
will
hear
do
you.
it.
I hear you.
It's like, why are you paying 5 people for 3 weeks just to do nothing but that? And it's
Yeah,
like, and finance are always under resourced. They're always saying we don't have enough time. And,
yeah,
and this is the reason why, because your data is in a hell of a state. Finance is the end result. They have to make everything match that you
yeah,
developed all along the way. The product, the
yeah.
supplier, the customer, the sales order, the good logistics has to all match at the end to say, here's stuff we bought, here's stuff we sold, here's all the HR ops costs, boom, right, here's our profit and loss, right?
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
it all has to match. So there
So
you
when you,
go.
I mean, I mean, that's very comprehensive. So I think a lot of people will feel relieved that, it's like a step before. It's like a phase zero. I think you and I have talked about before you
Yeah,
actually start. Um,
yeah.
but moving
Get
on
that
from
master
that,
data looked at, get it
yep,
profiled. Let's find out what is wrong. Talk to finance. Does this look like your data? Yeah, but that's wrong. We want to change that. We want to change this. Can you make that? Can you do this? And we can create those rules. And here's the beauty of it, right?
yeah,
That phase zero you mentioned, we can do that anytime. People say, oh yeah,
okay,
but I'm not going to do this for 6 months yet. That's fine. Let's get it done. And then there may be things on there, and you can say, Brett, I just want your profile, 10 days. I
mhm,
don't want to pay for the cleanse. And it's still, it's very inexpensive. I mean, you're talking peanuts. It really is, depending on who you speak to, who you have, to sort these things out for you. But, if you go to Emma, I'm talking direct to the people here,
mhm,
and get a resource, Emma knows, and she knows me, and we can
yeah,
work out something for you. But I think
absolutely,
for me, it's just it's quite simple. We'll get in there, we'll profile everything, we'll put it in front of you, and then you say yay, yes, no, or we can offer suggestions and say we think it should be this. And the reason is because we've done 50, 60 projects where it's always comes out that should be corrected, so we kind of know, and this might be your first. But the point is that you'll get tasks. You get tasked. Okay, every time we see an ST, we got to change it to street. Every time we see
mhm,
a supplier name, it's got to be all caps. Every time, we'll get the task, the rules, right? The rule book will be done. That's set in stone. Guess what? Your data between now and the end of next year is not going to change unless you change process or unless you change something in your data, but it's pretty much going
okay,
to stay the same, right? So at the
yep,
end of the day, the tasks will still remain the same. We'll then run those tasks in 6 months' time. Say, okay, right, here you go. Here's your test data. We're ready to go. Here's your, the data ready. It's ready. It's cleansed. It's all ready to go. And we'll run that, put that in your staging server. Your SI will be happy that they don't have to do it because they will mess it up, usually, because they don't know
the
your
whole
data.
other conversation, Brett.
Oh, it is. God, let's not
Yeah,
go there.
another day, another coffee.
Yes.
So, how long from when you first make contact would you say would be a reasonable amount of time to hire you for your services? What would you sort of suggest would be a good time to get to that stage that they're going to start migrating?
Yeah, I would say I would give 3 to 6 months as a good guide. I mean, it's not going to take us long, but like I was saying, it depends on what you want to do. You say, Brett, just profile it, tell me what's wrong. I'll get the business to correct it. Okay, cool. Then I would say 6 months before, because there will be some things in there that, the business are going to need to change. And then you might say, do you know what? Can you come back when we do this and
Okay,
just cleanse it and push the button for us? So you'll have a
sure.
different mix, right? Or you could
Yeah.
do it a year before and say, okay, there's some things we need to change. We need to get a project. We need to update some of the master data, and we'll do that. Okay, cool. That's fine. Or you could say, well, Brett, you're sitting right there hovering over the button, just press it and let's go, right? And then once we develop those rules anyway, it's literally just pressing the button, and just saying, okay, we'll go in, there'll be some development time, obviously, and it generally don't take very long. You're probably looking at, 2 terabytes of data. You're probably looking at about 3 months
Okay.
profiling, cleansing. to get it into a reasonable state. But then as you move forward, depending if you know your target application, so if you're going to Oracle Fusion, right? I know this for a fact. There are fields in SAP that are not mandatory that are now mandatory in Oracle Fusion. Okay, so Oracle NetSuite, Oracle Fusion, you're going to need some new data, right? That you'd never even seen before, that you aren't capturing. So there'll be those types of things we'll need to bring in and say, okay, well, you don't have it now, but you're going to have it. And then you need to make a decision with the functional consultant when they arrive. Okay, what are you going to make this? What are you going to change it to? I've got templates, for instance, from Oracle Fusion and Oracle NetSuite. I can say, well, here's the template. Here's what they say is required. That's not required in SAP. So you need to think about, and I can give you a heads up, right? So having us in phase 0, we could start giving you a heads up. So when the Oracle arrive on the scene and they're doing it, you say, right, we know what we want to call it. Oh, cool. You must have had Bret in or something, because he's the only one that kind of really thinks like that.
Understands these things, yes.
Yeah, well, most people have it at phase 3. Phase 3, let's clean the data. Well, that's a bit too late. Okay, think about it, right? Data
this is usually when they call you, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well,
this is often what happens. Yeah.
Data is the key, because they don't understand. Data will redirect your config. Oh, we don't want that in a free text. We want that in a drop-down config, right? You're going to need data to populate that config, right? They'll say, oh, we didn't realize that data was bad. Okay, process. You're going to need a new process. And then, we don't want to do it that way. We want to get this third-party system in. Integration, data will tell you immediately when you profile that data and when you get it cleansed. Guess what? It will feed into your requirements. It will feed into your config, and it'll feed into your training and all the functional aspect, right? You'll have loads of as soon as that first data migration drops, right? And you're 3 months, 4 months in, right? Sometimes it's 6 to 7 months in. You're going to say, "Oh shoot, we need a new CR." Why? Because that's not right on payroll, or that's not right on sales order processing. That's not right on products or suppliers. We didn't know we needed that data from Oracle. Oh shoot, that's a change request, right? All data driven. Everyone thinks, oh, it's because of the processes. Yeah, but think about it. Like you just said, right? Take a step back. What caused the process to go wrong in the first place? Well, we didn't know that. So data. You didn't know what had to be in that step or in that field, right? The same way as standard operating procedures.
We're over budget, and the risks are increasing, and yada yada yada. I've heard the story
and that's what
so
happens.
many times.
Yeah, over budget,
that's exactly
over time.
what happens.
And it feeds into the SOPs. It feeds into everything, right? Data is everything, and the steps, because you change the config. Oh shoot, we got to rewrite that. Oh, guess what? 4 months in, you've already done some SIT testing. That's invalid. You got to retest it now. It's like you wasted money testing when it's invalid, because you've changed the data, you've changed the process, you've changed how it works. And that will have a massive knock-on effect. It's one tiny change up front will have a massive knock-on effect throughout the whole system, because, well, all this got to change now because we weren't expecting that value. We weren't expecting this result. How's that? You know what I mean? So if we get it done all up front, we can map it out and say, right, here's your data. This is what it looks like. This is what your target system is going to require. Odoo, Priority, Fusion, Infor, whatever you're going to, I don't care. I can look at that and say, you're going to need these extra fields. You might want to have a think about it between now and 6 months, 8 months, by the time you start your program. What are we going to put in those fields, right? I can tell you, I can do, because I've got AI agents I've created, that I can go in and say, please map me the LFA1 table, the supplier table, to the Oracle Fusion supplier table. I say, oh yeah, sure, Bret. Otis, I call him. Oracle, D365, Infor, SAP. I call him Otis, right? And Otis will say, sure, Bret, here you go. Here's the mapping table. Would you like me to put that in a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet? Would you
I
like
love
me
it
to
when they say
continue
that.
on and
Yeah,
do this as well? And my agent already knows, he's been trained on Oracle and SAP, so he knows everything about it, about that area. So he can tell you at any one point in time. My people I was working with recently, I created them some SAP agents, and they were doing SDS, which boo, we don't like SDS. A, it's expensive, and B, it's a pain in the butt. But they were using that, and he said, Brett, what table is this field in? I said, well, ask the agent, ask Otis. Otis, what field's this? And here, it's in this one, and it connects to this, and it connects to that, and you might want to check that. And oh, by the way, when you're doing that, make sure you update over here as well. Jesus, okay, thanks. Right, so there you go. There's your field.
amazing.
And
Amazing.
yeah, anyway.
Anyway, can you just briefly tell me about your biggest challenge? Share with everyone what your biggest challenge and how you overcame it, because I'm sure everyone likes to hear a real life story.
Yeah, I think for me, it's always starting data late is always the biggest challenge, and getting them to realize that it's going to be delayed and there's no way of stopping it. Oh, we'll cut testing. No, you didn't start data properly. You're going to have problems.
You have to start.
Okay.
You have to go back.
Yeah, you didn't start phase 0. You didn't get your data done before you started, because now you're going to have issues, because no one's going to, and that's probably the biggest problem is that, and overcoming it is you literally had to work, like some of my team, when I have them helping me, I use different time zones. So I've got people in the Philippines, I've got people in the States, I've got people in India, and I use that offshore team to kind of follow the sun, right? So we're literally can be 24/7. So we can literally get that data. So while you're sleeping, I'll get that data cleansed, get that ready, get that presentable. Here you go.
And hopefully catch up with your timelines, catch up with the timelines of the project if they've had to, take a step back because they've realized that the data isn't where it should be.
Yeah, we work shifts, we work weekends, and that's what we just do, try and pull it in, because I know some programs cost around about, I don't know, between 3 and 5 million a month. If you
It's a lot of money. Yeah.
And if you're out 5-6 months, that's 18 to 30 million quid that you're wasting.
The numbers are staggering.
Emma, it's driven by data.
Yes.
All of those mistakes and those delays.
Hear you.
Frustrating.
I know, it's very frustrating. I don't know about you, I'm nearly finished, but I would really appreciate it if you would share some advice. If people have listened to what you've said, think this is a really interesting field, I've always had a passion for data, can you give some advice to those budding data managers out there of how they can further their career and get to where you are?
Sure. Get AI. Learn AI, get yourself a $20 a month GPT account, train up a couple of AIs, agents, create your own agents, start toying with it. I know you can get agents where you can start leading questions, but get that under your belt. It's really, really key. A lot of people say, I'll use AI for data, only if it's in private, okay? Do not use public AI with PII data. Okay, personal identifiable information.
Of course, GDPR,
do not use that in ChatGPT. Okay, you can get private servers for around about $1,000, $1,200. You can get a really good version of DeepSeek or another Llama or something like that, that you're only going to use the reasoning capability. The training, the knowledge is on the documentation you upload to that agent to train it.
Sure.
Say, you are an ARAP agent. That's what you're doing. Here's all the SAP documentation that you're going to need to do that job. Or you're a FICO configuration agent, right? And then you just get it to where you want it, and you can put questions in, but get that under your belt. And also as well, because it's changing now, if you don't have AI on your CV, you're going to be overlooked, because people are like, well, he doesn't have AI. This person does. Okay, cool. I'm intrigued. I want to know about that. And also as well, get yourself a good tool that you can use. I can't mention the name. I want to, but $30 a day, and contact me and I'll put you in touch.
Sure.
But there's a great tool to have in your toolbox, $30 a day. If you're a consultant and contract, then it's well worth it, because you can then say on your CV, I come with a data profiling cleansing tool set. Mapping and everything else, right?
I know the whole package already here. I know.
That's what you need, right?
That's
To
what you
compete
need.
now and
Yeah.
learn that. That's
Yeah.
it.
That is good advice. Well, Mr. Robinson, thank you very much for having coffee with me this
Thanks for having
morning.
me.
I really enjoyed it, and so you've imparted a lot of information, which I'm sure will help a lot of people. And let's hope that we can, with more clients are going to come and speak to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Emma. And speak to Emma and let's get your phase 0 sorted. Let's get some data done. So
Absolutely.
good stuff.
Thank you very much. I shall speak to you soon. Take care.
Yeah, thanks. See ya.
Bye. Bye.